word is ratio, a comparison of two quantities. So it's going to be what?
Try putting it down and picking it back up again. So put the pen back on the tray, Doc.
Oh, okay.
And I'll pick it up, and let's see if it works.
So two quantities, right?
Okay, good.
Which means we're going to have two numbers. Two numbers using division. So it's going to tie into fractions, so what we've learned. Then we're going to have rate, a ratio with different units. Okay, so it's basically going to be the same as ratio, but we're going to have two labels. Ratio doesn't have two labels, it only has one. So that's the difference between rate and ratio. So we're going to have two labels. Any labels. Then we're going to have unit rate. A rate with a denominator of 1. So that could be anything from money per hour, miles per hour, or words per minute. So we can write that down, miles per hour. These are just examples. Money per hour, or words per minute. Like, let's say you're trying to tell somebody how fast you can type. Words per minute. And now we're also going to talk about complex fractions. And that would be has a fraction as either the numerator or the denominator. So numerator, make sure you underline these, the denominator, or both. Okay. So make sure you guys underline these because these will serve as good references when you're looking at examples. So we're going to go into our first example. The question says, there are 12 dogs and 15 cats at the pet store. Find the ratio of cats to dogs in 3 different ways. So the first thing we need to know about ratios is these are our two numbers, right? We said at the beginning that a ratio is going to consist of two numbers. So our two numbers are going to be 12 dogs and 12 cats. And one thing to remember with that is we got to know the order of which we put them in. That's important. So they want us to find the ratio of cats to dogs. The cats comes first, so let's put a star on that, which means that's going to go on top. So we're going to have 15 on top and the other number on the bottom, because the cats come first. So we have 15 cats and 12 dogs. So that's going to be our ratio, but we can simplify this, right? Anybody know what this would be?
5/4.
5/4, good job. Okay. But we can also write this as what else?
5 2/4. 2.5.
1 and 3/12.
1 and what?
1 and 3/12.
3/12.
But if you simplify it, it can become
It could be 1 and
1.
1 and 1/4.
Yes, 1 and 1/4.
I told
1 and 1/4. But remember how I said that ratios consist of two numbers? We don't want to write it like this because this is 3 numbers, right? So we don't want that. But what we do want is to write it in simplest form always, okay? So like I said earlier, ratios consist of two numbers. So you want to leave it as 5/4, right? And it's also asking us to write it in 3 different ways. Okay? That means you could write it like this. This would be one way, 5 over 4, that's how you say it in words. And then you could also write it as 4 ratios are written like this, which that means 5 to 4. Or the third option is literally just 5 to 4. So those are the 3 different ways to write ratios. So we'll go ahead and square that. All right. Any questions? All right. Go on to the next slide. Try a different color. So our question says, you bicycled 30 blocks in 20 minutes, find your speed. And one thing I want to show you guys is whenever you guys have money, that's almost always is going to go on the top. So let's write a money symbol over, and then whenever you have time, that usually is going to go in the bottom when you're trying to find rates. Okay, so do we have anything that has to do with money on here?
No.
Do we have anything that has to do with time?
Yes.
All right, so where's that going to go?
Time is gonna be at the bottom.
All right, so our time is 20 minutes, right? 20 minutes. And then we don't have any money, so we can automatically assume that the 30 goes on the top.
Yep.
So 30 blocks. I'm gonna label that. So that would be our speed. We're going 30 blocks per 20 minutes. So that would be what we call our rate. All right. And does anybody know why it's a rate and not a ratio? Correct. It has 2 labels. That is important to remember. Start that. And is that the last slide?
No, there's one more. That's just a
Oh,
one in
okay.
the middle.
There we go. We're gonna look at this table right here. Okay, so it wants us to find the unit rate of pay. All right, remember what I said earlier, where usually money goes on top. And this line, usually it's gonna mean per, all right? So money goes on top, and then you have time at the bottom, for the most part. So, do we have anything on this? So we wanna know the unit rate of pay, so it's probably gonna be a certain amount of money per,
$15 per hour.
okay. How'd you find that?
I did my calculation.
Okay, but what numbers did you use? 9 divided by 6, right? Because the 90 is our money. So we have our money on top. And you said 6, right? Because that's our time. That's at the bottom, right? So then we go ahead and simplify that. 90 divided by 6 is 15 when you put it on your calculator. So then you have 15 what?
Dollars per hour.
Yep. Those are our 2 labels. Dollars per hour. Any questions? Good. All right. You want me to do this one as well? Okay.
Nope, skip it.
All right, so back to our standards. I can analyze unit rates to find better ways to justify rating. I can calculate unit rates related to ratios, fractions, including ratios of lengths, area, and other quantities measured in the same different units. So our lesson's pretty short today. It's introduction, so that's it for today. Now we're gonna go back and look at those 4 problems that we did at the beginning.